All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of Raw Intuition Inside Scoop. Tonight, we've got another amazing raw food journey story to share with you tonight. We've got Nate Maris, otherwise known as Raw Natty N8 on social media. And Nate's here to share with us his journey into the raw vegan diet and lifestyle and all the benefits that he has seen personally from joining this journey with us. And, we are just grateful to have you here. So, Nate, thank you for joining the channel and sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Matt. This has been such a great journey, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to interview me. Definitely. This is good. It's good to be a part of your show.
Yeah, really great to have you. Thank you. So just to kind of start off, can we give the viewers just kind of a background of, your diet and lifestyle growing up and just kind of what your health was like leading up to your transition to a raw vegan lifestyle?
Sure, man. Yeah, basically, I was the average American. We ate a lot of, boxed meals, hamburger helper and mac and cheese, just your standard all-around diet. I mean, it can be known as the standard American diet, but I feel like worldwide people are eating the standard American diet, so we can call it the standard all-around diet. That way we still keep it sad, right? Because it was basically just the sad diet. Fast food, if you're on a road trip, some fast food. Yeah, that's basically it. There was, of course, there's some good home cooked meals too, like your meat, your cooked vegetables, your starch, and that was like a healthy home cooked meal. A lot of milk, lots of cheese. Yeah, just a lot of funk, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Now we didn't stock. Yes, right. We didn't stock a lot of soda in the house or pop, soda pop, but definitely that was a part of our life as well. Your juice boxes and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So just your standard funk. A lot of food-like products, vegetables. Yeah, not a lot of vegetables, not a lot of big healthy salads. Mm-hmm. Just standard, fast-paced. Suburban life meals.
Yeah, sounds very familiar. That's a lot like what my lifestyle was like as well. I find it amazing how when I think back, I ate like fruit. I can hardly remember eating any fruit when I was.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing.
We had fruit here and there, but it wasn't a cornerstone thing.
Right.
It's interesting. It's so interesting how it works. Yeah. And I mean, pancakes in the morning, eggs and sausages. Yeah. Just basically what 95 to 96% of the population eats right now. That's right. What we ate every single day, big tubs of cottage cheese, Like I said, hamburger helper, that was a quick and easy thing. Some stroganoff, right? Get a pound of ground beef, ground it up, throw it all in the deal. It actually takes longer to do that kind of a meal than it does to prepare a delicious, healthy salad in a fresh, raw dressing.
Yeah, totally.
But, it's just not how we were trained.
Right.
It's interesting.
So what was your health like? Was it pretty good, or did you have any issues?
I played some sports growing up. I wasn't. Now, my dad had been in an accident when he was 16, and he got hit head on a motorcycle by a drunk driver.
Oh, wow.
And so he's been in a lot of pain his entire life. So he wasn't really active. We did dirt bike riding. That was the thing that we would do together. And so he wasn't real, into sports, any kind of team sports. So I wasn't pumped to play sports. It costs money and it takes time to drive your kid to sports. So I did a few sports, but not a lot. And growing up, of course, looking in the mirror, I wasn't, an exercise fiend. So I didn't feel like the body that I was riding in was the way it should be, but I wasn't doing the work that it takes to have a healthy body by exercising. Riding dirt bikes is, it takes very little. I mean, I wasn't racing, so it doesn't take a lot of strength to ride a dirt bike. You're standing up a little bit, you twist the throttle. But no, I didn't play a lot of sports. My health was, I'd say, average. I didn't play a lot of video games. I did a lot of hiking, but I wasn't necessarily overweight growing up, though. Not until maybe the middle of my high school years, I started to kind of like pack on a few more pounds, get a little more husky.
Okay.
Being younger, I was really into swimming. I was actually on a swim team, and I wasn't necessarily shredded cut, but I wasn't, fat either. But about high school, middle of my high school year, just started to kind of pack on more pounds because I was just eating more funk, basically.
Sure.
Not really watching what I'm eating. Food is very addictive, so I would eat a lot of ice cream and a lot of chips, just a lot of BS, realistically.
Yeah.
So after that, out of high school, I had a home-based business, and I just kept packing on pounds, man. Like, I actually just fired up my old computer. This have pictures back in the late 90s and then all the way up until probably about 2007. And it's really interesting to look at these pictures and how big I was. My frame, I'm 5'7", and I think the heaviest I was about 220. Oh, wow. And that's not a good weight to be on a 5'7" frame.
Yeah. So what was it that kind of made the shift? How did you hear about this lifestyle, and what was that like?
So didn't really know much about, I'd heard the term vegan. I knew what a vegetarian was. They don't eat meat, and they eat, cheese, eggs, possibly fish. I didn't necessarily know the labels like lacto-ovo or, pescatarian, any of that kind of stuff. I just basically had the generalized vegetarian. I knew that term. Vegan, I heard of vegan, and I thought, I don't ever want to be one of those food snobs. I just would eat anything and everything. Now, come 2011, it was December 2011, I got the flu. And I spent New Year's and Christmas in bed sick with the flu. So it's 2012, the start of a new year, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I want to be healthy. What the heck? And so I crack on YouTube on my little iTouch, and I didn't really know. I really didn't spend a lot of time on the computer. I didn't do any, MySpace or Facebook or any of that stuff. I had really not a lot of time on social media. I would either be riding my dirt bike, or I play, and build hand drums. I would play drums. I just didn't spend a lot of time on social media. So when I got on YouTube and started figuring out, I can't remember what I typed in, but I came across Dan the Man, the Life Regenerator. And of course the algorithms pick up, Fully Raw Christina and Durian Rider. And it was basically, I didn't watch actually any of Fully Raw Christina's videos. But I really liked Dan the Man, because here in Southern Oregon, we have a lot of festivals, like hippie festivals, reggae festivals. And he reminded me of just some crazy hippie at one of these festivals. And I liked him, I was digging on what he was talking about. And of course, Durian Rider was super entertaining. He was just kind of ranting and, just a real pissed off Aussie,
Yeah.
And so I kind of got a kick out of these guys, and I came across the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And so I watched Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and this is all while I'm in bed sick. And right then I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is the answer. I need a juicer. I need to start juicing. This is great. Yeah. And, I need to stop eating, French fries and, chicken on a stick dipped in ranch and barbecue sauce and chimichangas and all the crap, Red Bulls like they're going out of style. I'm drinking coffee, and I just felt just horrible. And, like I said, I wasn't big into exercising. Of course, the best kind of exercise is if you're a skater or a surfer, some kind of an active sport where you don't even realize you're working out, but you're working out hard every day.
Sure.
Like I said, with dirt biking, I wasn't a racer. I would just go out trail riding with friends, and, you know, there's not a lot of workout going out there. But anyways, after watching Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, I made the shift. I got a juicer right then. I started juicing, and I felt amazing. You know, I wasn't sick, of course. You know, it lasted a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came across Forks Over Knives, and it was like, okay, all right. And then I watched Earthlings, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. This is what I'm a part of this, because I'm voting for this with my dollar. And so then I became vegan, like overnight. I'm like, all right, I'm vegan. This is, you know, we're vegan. I'm telling my, you know, my wife, she's my ex-wife at this point in time. Yeah. But I was telling her, like, we need to be vegan, you know. And I've always been a real excited, passionate person. And I get into something, I get into, you know, I jump in with both feet. I dive head first into it. So sure. Here my ex is like crying, and other people in our family, not necessarily on my side of the family, but on her side of the family, and friends, you know, they're thinking I'm crazy. And, you know, because we live in rural Oregon, there's a lot of fishermen and hunters, and I would fish myself, and I went hunting, but I never actually got a deer. But I was, you know, I've helped, you know, say butcher, you know, or clean a deer before. So that's a pretty intense process, I'm sure. So basically that was the awakening. Those three films, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, Forks Over Knife, and Earthlings. But then something really strange happened. It was maybe a couple months in. It was too much. And I just put the blinders back on, and I just went back to sleep. And I just was like, all right, you know, tri-tip, and we're having burgers on a road trip. And I stopped being vegan. I didn't really make the full connection as far as like, I am absolutely not, I don't want any part of this. It wasn't as strong as it should have been at that point in time. Because you're watching those films, some of those people that watch those films are so affected that that's it. They will never. Yeah. It was more of a battle between what was going on with my spouse at the time and family and friends, to where I was like, yeah, this is, you know, ignorance is bliss. I should just go back to sleep. You know, let's have a beer. Let's cook up some tri-tip, you know? Right. And so basically just went back to sleep, man. And that was 2012. Okay. 2013, I took a fall at the end of, it was in 2013, towards the end of 2013, and I fell 30 feet, shattered my ankle, shattered my wrist. Wow. And my mom at that same time got diagnosed with kidney cancer. This was her second bout of kidney cancer. Her first bout was in 2007, and she had that kidney removed, and she's a cardiac nurse at the time. And so 2013, she's you know, retired. She's not working anymore. And I had said, hey, watch Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, Mom. And she watched that film, and she did a full 180, and she immediately went all in, trying to heal herself. Wow. Now at that time, I still wasn't able to make the connection. I'm just living in my own world. I'm like, I need to be as strong as I can. I'm gonna live a bodybuilding lifestyle. So I get on bodybuilding.com, and I start watching bodybuilding YouTubes on, you know, what to eat and what kind of supplements to take. And I went down that whole road, man. Okay. You know, and I, you know, had the dude that I followed on bodybuilding.com, and I was exercising like crazy. I got into great shape. I was basically doing like a keto diet. I didn't realize it was called a keto diet at the time. Just meat and vegetables, lots of whole eggs, lots of cheese, very little fruit, very little starches. Mm-hmm. And I lost like 57 pounds, and I was getting shredded, man. I was spending like 2 hours a day in the gym. Okay. You know, because I wasn't working, you know, after I got my cast off, because I was non-weight bearing for 4 months on my ankle. Mm-hmm. And everything healed great. And I just, as my mom is learning how to heal herself naturally, doing something that I'm so proud that she did, because never in my life did I think that my mom was going to go vegan. Right. Yeah. So she's doing that, and she's like, Nate, oh my gosh, you don't know what you're doing to yourself. And I'm like, whatever, Mom. Like, I'm bodybuilder, you know. I need supplements, some protein shakes, and pre-workout, post-workout. You know, you do your thing, Mom. You heal yourself, but I'm going to get big and strong. So it was actually my son who was getting freaked out, hearing what my mom was preaching about. And he was like, Dad, I don't want to eat meat anymore. I don't want to eat sugar. I don't want to eat gluten. I don't want cancer. And I'm like, cool. All right. You know, he's 11 at the time. And I'm like, I'm preparing my meals. I've got 6 meals with me everywhere we go. We go rafting or to the river. I've always got Tupperwares full of, you know, chicken and broccoli or whatever, steak and peas, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're at his baseball party, and there's cake and ice cream, you know, and soda and pizza. And he pulls out all throughout the baseball year. He was reading the packages. He's like, no, can't have this. No, it's got milk in it. And I'm like, dude, you're 11. Like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. And he's all, I'm not doing it, Dad. I'm not doing it. I was like, all right, that's, you know, good on you.
Yeah.
And at that baseball game, he pulls out his little thing of quinoa, you know, his own quinoa salad with black beans and tomatoes and green onions. And I was like, dude, seriously? Like, you're not going to have pizza and cake and ice cream? Like, and he's all, no. And I'm like, all right, I'm doing this with you, bro. I'm following you.
Wow.
You know, let's do this. So that's when I became vegan, was with him. So, I mean, I was vegan for like maybe a couple months, 2012. And it wasn't until it wasn't until 2013 where I was like, all right, let's do this. I want to make sure you're eating properly, because I know there's a lot of, you know, the stereotype of vegan. People think, oh, vegans are very unhealthy. They're always fat, or they're always really malnourished. And, you know, there's not a lot of healthy vegans. That's the, you know, the census, or however you want to say, out there.
Yeah.
So we became vegan together. And then it was, my mom is still trying to find her cure for her kidney cancer. And I'm like, you know what, Mom? Because she had that mindset. She's like, I'm healed. I'm already healed. You know, and that's such a powerful way to think about something when you are wanting anything in this life, right? If this life is a dream and we're just dreaming up our own realities, if you want something, you can manifest it by really believing. And she really believed that. She basically put in her order to Amazon, so to speak, and it's on its way. She's already healed. It's on its way. It's coming. And I'm like, you're going to heal yourself, Mom. I know you are, because she's a very strong-willed person, and she was really strict with her protocol. So I said, when you find out and you figure out what heals your cancer, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to do what you do, because basically I'm watching, you know, X amount of family members die of cancer. And my ongoing joke was like, oh, you know, if we swallow our own saliva for 50 years, we'll probably get cancer, because everybody's getting cancer, some kind of cancer. So it was 2014, it was 2015. So I think it was 2015, she healed herself of cancer. And, or maybe it was the beginning of 2016, I think it was. Either way, I know it still took me about 8 to 10 months to adopt the raw vegan lifestyle. I mean, I was living cooked vegan. I wasn't exercising anymore. So I did pack on like another 35 pounds, because I wasn't watching what I was eating. I was like, oh, cool, it's vegan. Yeah. Oh yeah, let's eat this. You know, it's, yep, this is vegan, you know, we can do it, you know. And wasn't exercising, totally got out of the routine of exercising, which you know, as I was exercising when I was keto, I was like, Nate, don't ever stop doing this. You feel amazing. This is the fountain of youth. You have to keep your body moving, because we're designed to move. That's realistically what the situation is, right?
Right.
So I at that point in time, I was like, dang it. I'm so glad that she healed herself, but now I have to do this raw vegan thing. I said I was going to follow her, and this is obviously the, you know, the bee's knees, so to speak. This is it. This is the real way to live. If you can reverse cancers, you know, get your body to eat those acidic, you know, morphed out funky cells.
Yeah.
This is the way that we should all be living. I mean, this is the real deal. And she was knowing other people who were reversing breast cancers and lung cancer and different kinds of things, because she's in these groups, and she was sharing her stories. And
yeah,
I still had a really hard time, man, kicking cooked food, beans, hummus, lentils and rice and potatoes. And I'd go out to Mexican food, and I'd get a big taco salad with lots of beans and rice. And I'd have there was probably lard in the beans. What I ended up doing was I was doing whole beans. I was like, all right, you're doing lard in your Spanish rice, no rice, give me whole beans. I was trying to be as best as I could, but I'd still have chips and salsa.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, I've got to go raw. How can I do this? This is pretty extreme. And I'm skiing. I was up on the mountain skiing. This was 2017, in the winter of 2017. I think it was like the end of February, beginning of March. Yeah, it was the beginning of March. Okay. And I'm skiing, and I'm riding the ski lift up with this guy, and we start talking, and we got onto diet because, I mean, even before when I was keto, it was like all I could talk about was like how important it is with, what we put in our mouths. So we start talking about diet. I tell him my mom's story, and he asks what I do for a living. And at that time, I was working in the coronary care unit. No. Sorry, I was in a pulmonary clinic.
Okay.
So we would, sell CPAP machines with people with sleep apnea.
Oh, yeah.
And it was interesting to see how many individuals they can't even breathe on their own. They're not oxygenating just in the middle of the night. Most of it is from their diet, right. Realistically. Probably 95% of these people is diet related. Mm-hmm. So he takes off his glasses, his goggles, and looks right at me, and he's like, "You should listen to your mom, Nate." He's like, "I healed my colorectal cancer at the age of 44, and I'm 86. And I'm like, "You're 86, dude? What are you doing on the mountain? Like, what? This is crazy." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, I'm a raw foodie. I've been a raw foodie for 42 years. And that was like the aha moment for me. I was like, this is a man. I'm a man, I mean, sometimes it's hard to listen to our moms, even though they a lot of times want the best for us.
Sure.
But I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, dude, you're 86 and up here skiing? Like, okay, I'm on. Like, I know I should be doing this. I watched Dan the Man and Durian Ryder, and I understood these certain concepts. I didn't really let them sink in and just like grab a hold of it. Like, this is my life now. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to live. But it was that particular moment riding with that guy. We got off the ski lift, and I'm a snowboarder and he's a skier. He'd been skiing since he was 7. So, 79 years on the mountain. And dude, he is like, I couldn't keep up with him, bro. Like, wow. And I had turned 40 years old that year. Mm. I was 39. I turned 40. Actually, I turned 40 this next Saturday, 42 this next Saturday. So, it was right before my birthday. And I was like, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like John. Mm-hmm. And he healed his colorectal cancer at 44. He's a raw foodie. I can't remember who he said for the life of me of who he got into what. It was basically his whole thing was all about living foods. He didn't call it raw vegan. He was like living foods. Okay. Lots of sprouts, sprouting his lentils, always doing sprouting. His thing was sprouting because sprouts are alive. And it just, of course, it made sense because I'd been reading and touching up on this kind of stuff a little bit here and there. And yeah, so I went home that night and binged watched YouTube. And that's when I found Lissa. I was like, wow, this chick is so hot. Like, look at what she's done to herself. This is amazing. And like, she just was super down to earth and her recipes were epic. And I was like, all right, I'm buying her book. She's got a meal plan. I'm looking at her pictures. I'm like, oh, I could eat that. Yeah, that's not grapes, Right. I don't necessarily, I'm not trying to heal cancer. So I don't need to go as extreme as to, wean myself off of all food and just dry fast for 4 days at a time. Mm-hmm. I want to learn how to feed myself when it looks good, and it tastes good and all this stuff. So I bought her 30-day meal plan, and I got a couple of coworkers to go with me at work on like a 30-day raw. You know, I was like, let's do it. You guys want to go raw? Because one of my coworkers was like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of being tired. And I'm like, you want to go raw? We should go raw. We'll probably get some more energy because it's less work for our body to digest food because it's already, it's undamaged food. So it has all the enzymes it needs to break itself down. Let's do it. So they went with me on the raw journey. It was 3 women. One chick lasted like maybe 4 days. And the other 2 lasted the month.
Okay.
And then of course after that month, they were over it. They went right back to eating their microwaved, you know, cheese enchiladas and drinking sodas. And, you know, they were doing it for a little weight loss. And I'm not sure how strict they were when they were at home, but during the day, I would prepare us the smoothies in the morning. You know, I would make sure we were eating our snacks, and then I would do us the lunch. And we just followed that meal plan. And I was like, I felt so good. You know, after that month, I'm like, I'm never stopping. I'm never going to stop. And I was like bound and determined to just stick with this because I'm looking at myself, even as vegan, I'm like, I'm not living a very healthy lifestyle. You know, I'm eating a lot of the transitional vegan foods, lots of mock meats and mock cheeses, you know, of course, lots of heavy starches with earth balanced butter. Like I was keeping it vegan, but it wasn't health food, you know, lots of oil, lots of sugar, lots of salt. And I just didn't feel good. I wanted to feel better, you know. I mean, even friends of mine are like, Nate, dude, yeah, you're vegan, but what you're eating isn't healthy. Because, you know, I'm making like, I would do like, you know, the field roast sausage and ground the sausage and do like the fake cheese, the day of cheese, and not fake cheese, the mock cheese.
Yeah.
And, you know, tofu. So it was like basically a sausage and egg and cheese breakfast burrito, sauteed vegetables and mushrooms. And I'm like, dude, there's no animals that are being killed, you know, like I'm all right. But I'm like, man, I'm kind of like killing myself realistically with this style of diet because of what I was adding to it, right? I was adding butter, a lot of, you know, that's a lot of oil and
yeah,
just the concepts. And, you know, it's really tricky because, you know, there's all these different facets of living this lifestyle of veganism. You know, you've got the health food vegans, you got the health conscious vegans, you got the junk food vegans, you got, you know, the natural hygiene vegans. I mean, all these different ways, and everybody's like, well, you know, this and that and whatever. But for me personally, I was like, I want to feel good. So after that month on Lissa's, you know, meal plan, it was a no-brainer because she laid out your shopping list, the tools that you'll need that particular day, like everything down to like how many dates you're going to use that particular day. So there was literally no thinking involved besides doing the work. And that's a part that is tricky. A lot of people have a hard time doing the work. We're so connected with our food. You just go buy something that's takeout. You don't have to do anything. You just sit down, open the box or the bag, and you start eating. And I liked her name, Raw Food Romance, like creating a relationship, like a romance with your food. And I had kind of understood that concept when I was doing the bodybuilding diet, keto diet, because I was thinking about what I was going to eat. I was like, all right, what am I going to make for tomorrow? I wanted to make sure, and I would do my food prep on Sunday, make sure I have meals ready all the way till Wednesday. Wednesday, I would do more meal prep. So I had already understood the concept of creating this relationship with my food.
Yeah.
But her name really, you know, rang a bell for me too. But I just stuck with it, man. And I kind of found my favorite, you know, recipes in her book, which like the French dressing is so good and it's a fat-free dressing. So I was keeping my fat low and I was messing around with Chronometer. So I was making sure I was getting enough calories. And I would just constantly say to myself the mantra that she said, like, just say to yourself, I'm a raw vegan today. And so it was like day by day, even, you know, after 2 into 3 months in, I'm just like, still like, I'm a raw vegan. Like, oh my gosh, it's Betty's birthday and they brought in some delicious donuts. But I'm a raw vegan today. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna have donuts. Oh, it's Sherry's birthday. They brought the ice cream cake. Bite, maybe just one bite. No, I'm a raw vegan, you know? So yeah. I just stuck with that, man. And after about 3 months, there was no thinking involved anymore. I just was whizzing through the grocery store. I just knew what I needed to get. I didn't have a shopping list necessarily. I mean, I'd have certain things that I'm like, oh, make sure you get this. I'd write it down, but I would just be like, oh, that looks really good. Vegetable and produce, basically the produce section, the bulk section, and the herb section, the dried, the spices. And those are the 3 sections of the store I would hit. And I was out of there, man. It was so easy, so simple. There was I'd cut a melon in half and I'd eat the whole melon for breakfast. Of course, a lot of people are looking at me sideways with their breakfast sandwich going, you're going to eat that whole melon? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to eat this melon. Right. Like, it's not very much. And sure, I might have to pee 5 times in the next 2 hours, but I feel great. And dropped all kinds of weight. People were like, geez, you're looking amazing. Of course, I had people thinking that I was sick, because I did lose quite a bit of weight. And at that point in time, I was going through the divorce. So I was like, all right, we're not on the same page at all. I have literally no connection with you in life. We'd been together for 25 years. I mean, I got together when I was 15 with her. Wow. And we have 2 beautiful children. Our boys are 16 and 18 right now. So they were old enough, because this was 2 years ago, they were old enough where I was like, you guys are straight A kids. You got your head on straight. I just feel like me and my ex, we were at the end of our journey together. We were that whole cliche, we were growing apart. Yeah. He never became vegan with us, yet both my sons had, turned vegan. And my youngest, definitely for the animals, 100%. And he's strong vegan. And my oldest, his girlfriend was vegan. So that's what turned him vegan. But the 2 of them are vegan. And they eat pretty healthy. But at the same time, they're on their journey. They're young. So I'm not like, no, you can't get those cookies. Dude, it's not raw, right? I really don't preach to them. Yeah. Because, I didn't wake up myself until I was 40, so they're already doing worlds better than I was at their age. Their physique, their health, they're in track, and they cook their own stuff, which is great. I'll cook for them once in a while, but I want them to be self-sufficient. I don't want them to leave out of the house and not know what's what. So that's a long story. That's my whole story, man. That's how I got into raw foods. Watching my mom reverse her cancer, meeting John, the 86-year-old, and I was like, okay, this is it. I'm done with donuts and, fast food. This is not serving me. I'm not going to be 86 skiing or snowboarding. And I would love to be able to take my grandkids snowboarding, If I keep doing what I'm doing and keep eating, vegan transitional foods, breads and mock meats. I mean, look at these, fast food restaurants have vegan products because people are screaming. They want vegan products, which is great. Yeah. No animals have to die, but we're slowly still killing ourselves. Right. Yeah. So,
yeah, man, that so many synchronicities in that story. I mean, it was clearly meant to be. This was,
definitely.
Divine intervention, seems like. So
for sure.
Yeah. So what go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing with Lissa is kind of a wild one, because it was March when I transitioned, and then I went to the Woodstock Fruit Festival in August, and I met Jack Albright from Raw Tropical Living, which I'd also watched him on YouTube because I liked. He was just this good old Southern boy. Yep. He'd eat mangoes and bananas. I'm like, dude, that's simple. That's how a man does it. Just simplicity. You don't have to not the frills and all the because Lissa makes her stuff look so beautiful. And sometimes as a dude, you just don't have time to But of course, fruit is the fastest food. Smoothies are super fast. And so I met Jack. I showed him my before and after picture, told him my story, and he was like, oh my gosh, dude, I need to message Lissa right now. She has to interview you for her YouTube. And so I got back from the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and we connected, messaged each other, and did an interview. And of course, the same kind of thing, a lot of synchronicities in our life, going through divorce and, having just a lot of different things line up. We just immediately hit it off, and we talked until probably 3 a.m. after that interview. And then it was every single day, morning, noon, and night throughout, the next several months before we actually met. And it's really phenomenal. I never in a million years thought I'd be marrying, the author of the book that I used to transition into this lifestyle. Yeah. But
Cool,
So
man.
that's our thing now. Yeah, we're engaged to be married, and I'm trying to Americanize her because she's from Canada, and my son is still got a couple years left in high school, and so I'm rooted here still.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's another little tidbit of what's really going on. It's pretty fascinating. Like,
yeah. I'd say, wow. So, and if anybody watching doesn't know, I actually interviewed Lissa a few years ago. She was actually one of my first interviews. One of my favorite interviews. It was really, really great stuff. So I'm going to link that in the description box down below so everybody can check that out after this one. So yeah, pretty amazing you guys met up. I see you guys on social media. Clearly you guys are meant to be, and you guys are going to, you're teaching classes with each other. Is that right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it's so fun because before I met her, working in a clinic, I'm taking my patients' vitals, I'm going through their medications, and I'm like, hey, just try eating some real food, like fruits and vegetables, for just like a couple weeks. Don't tell anybody I told you, but watch your blood pressure. You might be able to get you off your blood pressure medication, Yeah. And so I just was geeking out. Really, just all I could talk about was raw foods. So yeah, with her, I mean, that's the path that she's on, and it was so amazing. So now we're both like, oh my gosh, imagine what we could do together. Like, we have the same, moral, standpoint and vision. And so now combining forces, yeah, like we definitely want to be doing a lot of classes, like it would be so cool to tour some of the states and hit up some of the schools, to talk to the children. Yeah. And, have them understand, especially on like a cartoon kind of level, of what's happening to our body. What are the body processes when you're eating certain foods, and how that's going to affect us over time. Not necessarily all for vanity, because we all want to look good, but we want to feel good. And I feel like we don't even really know what feeling good feels like.
No.
We're kind of in this, an overall, we're in this state of just constant funk. Mm-hmm. And, maybe you have that one really good cup of coffee and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel great today, and that's like the extent of our feeling good, or you see a long lost friend or something. But I don't feel that we even really know what feeling good feels like.
No, I can definitely attest to that. When I got into this lifestyle, I did a 10-day juice fast to start the whole thing. And through that, like the mental clarity, the energy, just my thoughts were better. It was just amazing. So I figured, heck, 10 days of just juice. I was like, I got to keep learning about this. And yeah, you really do not know how good you can feel until you've been on this side, Right.
Oh my gosh. So true. And of course, the diet part's only one spoke of the wheel. Like Lissa and I talk about this wheel, and you've got these different spokes.
Yeah.
Diet is one spoke, sleep is another spoke, your stress is another one, how much water you're drinking a day. And another thing that's massive, and I don't think people even realize, and I'm diving into these books right now. One of them is by Hal Huggins, It's All in Your Head, about the mercury fillings that we have.
Right.
And, because I have mercury fillings, I actually am going for my first appointment to get these fillings removed. I'm going to have it done in 2 appointments.
Okay.
Because, man, it doesn't matter how good I'm eating if I have mercury in my head. It's killing the good gut flora. It's just phenomenal that these kind of practices are allowed.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of this research has been buried because it's just another, in my mind, I mean, I kind of dive down the rabbit holes. In my mind, I feel like there is a war on the man, the mind of man, basically.
Yeah.
And it's another facet to keep us sick, and because that should not be allowed. Mercury is literally one of the most toxic substances on the planet, and they're putting it in our teeth. And then, of course, I'm not sure if, like you or your viewers know, like our teeth are connected, just like our hand or our foot or our ear or eye. Reflexology, everything's connected. So different teeth are connected to different organs in the body. And it's just like, it doesn't matter how amazing of a raw food diet I follow if I still have this metal in my mouth, right? Yeah. So that's another massive spoke to that wheel.
Right, man. I'll tell you one thing about mercury fillings. In one of my classes, in one of my raw food classes that I was teaching, I had a woman in the class who told us all that she had some sort of arthritis that she had for years. And she was like, it was just like debilitating. She got her mercury fillings removed and her arthritis went away.
Boom.
So that just goes to show how toxic those things can be and how it can affect your entire body.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's hundreds of studies, done about these, and it's all kind of buried. It's buried, man. Like this book that I'm in right now, It's All in Your Head is what it's called, by Hal Huggins. Unbelievable. There's great books out there, like, the root cause or the root canal cover up, these different things where you're just like, I'm blown away. Yeah. So now I'm on a whole nother trail, and I really want to incorporate this topic of our dental health into my talks, because like I said, it doesn't really matter how amazing our diet is if we have basically stuff in our mouth that's leaching toxins into our system. Right. So yeah, it's fascinating. Like when you were saying, I think it was about your mom, I'm like, immediately I'm wondering like, oh my gosh, does she have fillings? Does she have a root canal? Because that could be such a major. And I have friends that are like, Nate, you don't need to. No, dude, my dentist says it'll weaken your teeth. You don't need. That's a bunch of conspiracy BS. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I mean, maybe so. Yeah. But what my heart is telling me in the books that I'm reading, and the certain, for some reason, the gears are turning in my head that I can't have these in my head anymore. Maybe it is a bunch of BS. But I don't want to see the color of silver in my mouth now. I'd rather just see white, Right. So maybe it will weaken my teeth, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think that I'm really excited because I'm thinking that I might even crank my feeling good up a few notches after getting these out of my head.
I think you're right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And it seems to be difficult for, until you've really shifted to a plant-based, mostly raw food diet. It's like, or even just vegan, really, there's so many like mental transitions that take place that if you're not at that point, it's hard for those people to really comprehend what's really going on. So, I think a lot of people deal with criticism and, skepticism about people that live this lifestyle and that look into these sorts of things, and they want to call it a conspiracy, but it's just hard for them to see it.
It's hard for them to see it, and we all are here on our own journeys. As cliche as that may sound, some people came here to just party. You know what I mean? Like they came here to just rip it up and get trashed every weekend, and that's what they came here for. Now, for you and I and Lissa and other people in our tribe, so to speak, we've come here for a different purpose. And some of us, it's interesting because some of us are waking up to, these ways or becoming aware in their teens or 20s. And I happened to be 40 before I was like, I was always into, basically after 9/11, that's when I started digging. I was what's going on with this? How could this even happen? And then, of course, I took the dive, man. It was like crop circles, and I was all about trying to dig. But I never really made too much of the diet connection because food has got to be the most addictive substance on the face of the planet, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hands down, stronger addiction than heroin itself, man. Like, it's unbelievable. And it's such a touchy subject. It's easier to change one's religion than it is their diet.
So true.
And it's like such a woo-woo thing. Like, you don't look at what they're eating. Don't look at what they're eating. Don't ask them what they're eating. It's such a touchy subject because food, it's such an intimate thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of social ties, you know, that keep people just handcuffed to their beliefs about food. It's difficult sometimes, you know, socially for a lot of vegans and raw vegans to really maneuver that with people, because it can cause a lot of
that's
tension,
separation, a lot of separation, a lot of tension. And that's what our life was, you know, like, hey, let's get together, man. Let's have a barbecue. We'll have some beers. You know, hey, you want to have some beers or some drinks after work? Or, you know, like, it's all about food. It's all about food. I mean, you know, even if you're going, you know, on an outing, say I'd go dirt biking with friends, like we would bring our, you know, snacks. We're all, you know, when you do any kind of fast, like you said, you did that 10-day juice fast.
Yeah.
And I did a master cleanse, you know, or just drink the lemon, you know, warm lemon juice, the cayenne pepper, right? And it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I think of food like how many times a day? This is ridiculous. I'm like, wow, there's so much that goes into thinking about food and buying the food and preparing the food and eating the food. Like, geez, our lives are controlled with food.
Yeah. Oh, that is so true. So true. So what advice, I guess, would you give people that are, you know, whether they're going from standard American to vegan or vegan to raw vegan, like what were the things that helped you in making your transition and being able to commit to it?
Yeah. So vegan, going from standard diet to a plant-based diet, because I still didn't really make the animal connection.
Okay.
You know, the animal connection, I think if anybody, the strongest thing like that, you know, I think of now is if you could picture your horse or your dog or your cat being mutilated and eating your dog or your cat, or feeding it, you know, your neighbors, paying someone to come over and kill your dog, you know, to make that connection, because the connection is not there. Like we have dogs, cats, and horses and birds and fish in our house as pets. You know, you can't really pet the fish, but then we like eat the pigs and the chickens and the turkeys and the, you know, lamb and the duck and the, you know, there's such a disconnection there. So I think that I think it almost should be mandatory. If you want to buy any animal product, you should be made to watch Earthlings and Dominion, these kind of documentaries. And even know that I watched them and still was able to go back to sleep because of the addictions and just not wanting to pay attention. That was huge, you know, but I think
the seed was planted though, right?
The seed was planted, you know, but it is so much easier. I talked to Lissa about this, like, man, it'd be so much easier to go back to sleep. We would have so many more friends and we would be invited to so many more barbecues, right? Like, so easy. That's where a lot of people have struggles, is they're like, oh no, like my friends, you know, even my youngest was like, every awesome memory I have basically, you know, has to do with the barbecue, like, you know, because barbecue, family and friends come over and it's good vibes. Everybody's light and there's chips and dips and all the, you know, stuff, right?
Yeah.
So somebody who's wanting to transition is interesting because they're going to find their answers, right? They're going to attract what they're really needing to make those transitions. And I feel like, in a lot of ways, sorry. Hey, I'm in the middle of the interview. Love you. One of my kids' friends. So anyways, you know, I feel that, it should be mandatory to watch those videos to really make the animal connection. And, you know, doing some simple research as to, you know, what kind of foods are, you know, because everybody's got this protein scare. They're like, oh my God, where are you getting your protein? And you can type in, you know, how much protein the RDA is, and we're getting double the RDA. And the RDA was set from like back in the 50s of these iron workers, right, who were building skyscrapers, hard workers. And us living at a sedentary lifestyle, sitting at a desk job, we don't need 100 grams, you know, or a 1.5 grams per pound of body weight of protein. It's literally way too much protein. But people can find this information. It's all at their fingertips. So if they really want it and they really make the animal connection, boom, they're going to find it. And for standard American to vegan, you don't have to lose anything. You can go to Carl's Jr. and get a burger. Like, you know, say no cheese and no mayo. It's not considered vegan because the patty's still on the same burner as the meat patties, right? But
Yeah.
at least it's an animal-based it's a plant-based patty.
Yeah.
There's all these transitional foods, I like to call them. They're transitional foods for people really trying to make that connection. And then from somebody going from standard to raw, obviously they have a much stronger understanding of health, and they really, because when you think of raw, you're thinking of like health. That's healthy food. That's real food.
Mm-hmm.
You're not eating bread and science project food, because these cheeses and meats and stuff, they're amazing, but it's literally a science project.
Right.
They're combining these things to make us go, oh my God, that tastes good. Yeah. I'd rather have that because I don't want to help, contribute to killing the animals. It's great. I feel like it doesn't matter as long as we're vegan, right?
Yeah.
But of course, if we ourselves want to continue spreading a message, we need to be healthy ourselves. So going predominantly raw, they say if you eat 70% of your calories in the raw form, you're a raw foodie. Yeah. So you don't have to be, 100% raw. And I think that 100% raw is, man, I mean, unless we're living in the tropics,
mm-hmm.
And growing our own food, it's downright like just unattainable. So 90%, I'd say, like me and Lissa, like we're like 95% raw, because we still eat cashews, raw cashews. They're not raw. We still have coconut aminos and miso. There's certain ingredients that we'll use that aren't considered raw, but
mm-hmm.
I mean, we're over 90% of our calories are coming from raw food. So I consider we're raw foodies.
Me too.
But if anybody is eating, say the raw till 4 concept, that's, hey, or if you want your breakfast, tofu, cheese, and sausage burrito in the morning and all plant-based, do it to it. And because there's a lot of, we can like mentally masturbate way too much, right? Overthink way too much.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is if anybody is trying to switch over, it's really just all about doing it. Like Nike has the best saying, right? Just do it.
Right.
The information is there. And of course, there's going to be a lot of information like, oh, it didn't work for me and I had to go back to eating animals, or, how the whole thing is happening in the, the fall of, the fall of 2019, it seems like. But I always think of John, 42 years. So that was 2 years ago. He's 88, still skiing. 44 years raw foodie. Like he's still, I don't think, I didn't ask him if he eats any cooked food because we only had that one ski lift ride together.
Yeah.
But it's really if we are what we eat, we have to eat life to be alive. We can't be eating death to be alive. And when we cook our food to death, whether it be plant-based or not, it's not necessarily the optimum fuel for this gazillion-dollar Maserati that we've been given for free.
That's right.
We don't put value on things that have been given to us for free. We've been given the body for free, so we don't put value on it. And we're not loving ourselves. Like I always say, love yourself. And it's such a cliche thing. And I was having such a hard time. Like, should I put this? This is kind of sounds stupid. But like, if you truly love yourself, you're going to discipline yourself and you're going to do the best by yourself. And this machine, this avatar that our infinite soul gets to drive in this life, it runs on a particular kind of fuel. And that fuel being undamaged food. So it's that simple, that's a long answer. I have such long answers and long-winded answers, man, but it's really that simple, man. Like if they want to make the change, they're going to feel better. Even if they're going from standard American to standard vegan, cooked vegan, and all the transitional foods, they're going to feel better because consciously they know they're not, hurting animals. But if they go boom, extreme and go raw, even 70 to 80% of their calories from raw, man, like they're going to feel amazing. And all the information is at our fingertips nowadays to find out how to do it properly. And we have chronometers, so you can type in, you can see, oh my gosh, I got 30% of my calories today from fat. That's way too high of fat. So that's another thing, keeping your fat low, your carbs high, because our body runs on carbohydrates, and carbohydrates coming from the fruit sugar, it makes sense. You know, I mean, fruit is so abundant in the tropics.
Yeah.
And if that's what our cells need to run on, the less fat that we have running through our bloodstream to clog that keyhole of the cell, you know, the pancreas can release the insulin, it can open up the cell, and the fruit sugar can get in, and we feel amazing. Yeah. So keeping the fats low, right? It's all there. But you know, of course, we have to break the conditioning, which is really tricky.
Yeah, man. 100%. Totally. I'm on page with you and pretty much everything you just said. So, great explanation of all of this. Thank you for sharing your story. Really,
my pleasure.
Yeah, really impressive. Just super inspirational. Where can people find out more about you? You're on so many platforms.
Yeah, man. So I got YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram, and it's Raw Natty N8. So RAWNATTYN 8, Raw Natty N8. Yep, and that's where I'll be. I definitely need to be more prolific with pumping more content. I am not doing as much as I should be, considering that my fiance is all over the place, is intense, and she's just on point. It's nice when I'm with her, because when I'm with her, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna copy you. I gotta do. I better do this too, you know. But when I'm not with her, man, I start to slack, and I feel like there's a lot more that I should be doing. So either way, those are the platforms that I'm on, and come check me out.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'll put all your links in the description box down below. So everybody definitely check out Nate. Really inspirational guy, and providing, you know, I've checked out your YouTube and your Instagram, and really inspirational stuff. So highly recommend everybody go check him out, give him a follow, support him, and, you know, find out more from him, all the information that he's sharing. And I guess any other last bits of inspiration you want to provide?
You know, one thing I like to say is just, we have to disconnect to reconnect. It's that simple, man. Like, you know, and that could mean putting the cell phone down and getting out into nature. You're reconnecting with nature, or disconnecting from the old mindset to reconnect with a new mindset. We got to disconnect to reconnect. And it's all there for us, you know, it's all there.
Yeah, very well said. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, Nate, sharing this awesome information. And thank you everybody out there for joining us and listening. And again, go check out Nate in the description box. All his links are down there. And until next time, guys, always follow your raw intuition.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Detoxify your mind and body. Be the change you want to see. Small steps towards living better. Small steps to where I want to be. Ooh.